him
What do you think is going to happen in that case?
so bad. I hope Justin Gaethje not gonna drink, party, gonna train, dedicate himself, be focused. He's gonna overstrike him on the fight to wrestle him, and he's gonna. If you need the help, let me know. I'll fly to you and help you.
I wanted to win. This upcoming clash between Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett at UFC 3044 has absolutely electrified the mixed martial arts community. Fighters, analysts, and fans are all throwing in their predictions for what's shaping up to be one of this year's most captivating battles. Early expectations lean toward Justin being favored, and honestly, I've got to defeat Justin. Justin represents a brutal challenge. What makes this whole matchup even more intriguing is how it came together in the first place.
Really easy.
Yeah, easy.
That's a crazy thing to say because
Yeah, but he doesn't know how to grapple, and Paddy knows
but he's
that.
a Division I wrestler. He knows how to grapple. You don't think he knows how to grapple? He just chooses not to.
Did you ever saw him submitting someone?
I don't believe he's ever submitted someone, but I think that's because he likes to just crush people.
Everyone likes is to dominate people and to win as soon as possible. If you have the ability to submit someone as soon
I think Justin Gaethje's mindset is to be reasons why he lost some fight because he took unnecessary.
This fight is only happening because the current champion Ilia Topuria had to step back from competition to handle some deeply personal matters. Topuria made it official through social media back in late November, explaining he wouldn't be fighting during the first quarter of the year. He's dealing with the emotional weight of a divorce and wants to prioritize his children during this challenging period. When he withdrew, it created a massive gap at the top of the lightweight division. The UFC's solution was to create a temporary title fight, putting a seasoned warrior against a rising star whose rapid ascent has caught everyone off guard. So what do you think? Will Paddy cruise to an easy victory?
Bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again, Paddy's in for a new treat, right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. He's going in there. He's going to be trying to, get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more fresher. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness in my.
Tony Ferguson, who's actually shared the Octagon with both of these fighters during his legendary career, offered some really compelling psychological analysis of this matchup. Rather than diving deep into technical abilities or physical advantages, Ferguson zeroed in on something more intangible, but potentially game-changing. His take was that Gaethje carries the weight of previous letdowns, having come up short in 2 previous championship opportunities. Those losses linger in ways that aren't easily shaken off, and stepping into another title fight, even a temporary one, might bring back echoes of past heartbreak. The psychological burden of getting so close to the summit only to fall short can be crushing, and Ferguson wondered if that baggage might create a subtle but meaningful disadvantage. On the flip side, Pimblett approaches this moment with the fearless energy of someone experiencing it all for the first time.
Look, Justin Gaethje fighting for the interim title. Whoever wins that fight will move on to fight Ilia, and I don't think that there will be a title defense for the interim. If I was to bet, there will be no title defense of the interim title. I think that the next Paddy and Justin, I think their next fight will be Ilia Topuria, so do not think they will defend the interim.
Darren Till examined the matchup through a much more tactical perspective, breaking down how fighting styles mesh and where opportunities might emerge. From his standpoint, Pimblett has stumbled into what might be his most winnable path to championship gold. The lightweight division remains absolutely stacked with dangerous fighters who present nightmarish stylistic problems. Till specifically mentioned rising threats like Arman Tsarukyan, competitors whose skills and physical gifts would likely overwhelm Pimblett in a straight-up fight. Against those elite-level contenders, Pimblett would have trouble implementing his game plan and might find himself outmatched at every turn. Gaethje, while still a formidable opponent, represents a different type of challenge. He's further along in his career trajectory, more predictable in his approach, and no longer shows the explosive chaos that defines today's emerging lightweight killers.
And Justin Gaethje, who do you favor in that fight?
I gotta go with Gaethje. I feel like he's the one that loves to get down and throw fist for fist, and he's also got the Division I wrestling to negate some of the biggest skill sets of Paddy. Paddy's a very dominant grappler when it comes to submission. I think Gaethje has the tools to keep it where he wants.
Alexander Volkanovski, leveraging his experience as a former champion who's watched countless contenders rise and fall under pressure, brought a unique perspective to the conversation. He acknowledged that Gaethje has rediscovered elements of his old aggressive self and still carries knockout power in his hands. He explained, "It's a tough question, but I just can't bet against Paddy anymore." This guy just keeps winning. In his most recent performance against Michael Chandler, he looked sharp, and even though Gaethje is becoming more dangerous again, Paddy showed in that fight his ability to stick to a game plan. That's going to be crucial in the fight against Justin, so I believe Paddy will do everything necessary to achieve his goal. Urijah Faber broke down the matchup with the authority of someone who spent years understanding how different fighting styles collide. His evaluation leaned toward Justin Gaethje, with his reasoning centered on who stays composed when fights devolve into complete chaos. Both fighters willingly engage in wild exchanges, and neither lacks courage or heart. However, Faber recognized something special about Gaethje's relationship with mayhem.
With Justin.
That I'm glad it's over and I never want to do it again. I'm like, the fans don't ever ask for a rematch. I'm like, I'm glad. He's unique, man. One of my favorite guys to watch. So like, but
Eddie Alvarez, who handed Gaethje his first UFC defeat and understands his methods better than almost anyone, shifted the conversation to a completely different angle. For Alvarez, the outcome would hinge less on natural talent and more on whether Pimblett properly prepared for the specific challenges ahead. Gaethje brings an intensity that's impossible to replicate in training. Alvarez experienced it firsthand and remembers the relentless punishment, the constant pressure, and that sensation of never getting a moment to recover. If Pimblett surrounds himself with familiar training partners who can't simulate that level of chaos and aggression, he'd be setting himself up for failure. His first taste of Gaethje's real pressure would come inside the Octagon on fight night, and by then it would be too late for adjustment. Alvarez didn't question Pimblett's heart or determination, but he understood that adapting to an unfamiliar style in real time against someone as dangerous as Justin Gaethje is a recipe for disaster. So that's like the first thing that jumps out when you consider this fight.
he's a forward fighter and a pressure fighter, that he will stand in the pocket and he's going to get. If you don't meet him, the way to beat a guy who like does that, you have to meet him. You have to throw when he throws. So you got to be brave and you got to go. You have to shots. If you do that, you got a fair shot. If you don't do that, if you're not and throw when he throws in between his shots, really long night. It's gonna be a hard night for you.
When it comes to beating Justin Gaethje, you need to understand what you're walking into.
Like, they're just basically saying Paddy's more popular, you're getting it over Arvin.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, right? And that's, I mean, God, I hate like how I kind of get into this too much, but I mean, that's really like, that's the definition of, you know, a monopoly where a single promoter owns the title and the rankings. It's not a good thing for the sport, in my opinion. And the question, what it's going to do for the longevity of the sport, you know, I don't think in the short term it's really going to make a big difference, right? Like, you know, it's going to sell the next fight, right? It's going to sell the next pay-per-view. But trends tend to come and go, right? Fads tend to come and go. At some point, like, you know, to have staying power and lasting, there's, you know, a meritocracy-based system. It's going to require, you know, if you want to bring in guys like Armin Tsarukyan or Movsar Evloev, I always mess up how I say his name. You want to bring in these Olympic wrestling level guys. I mean, they don't want to have to go out there and put on some ridiculous show to become a champion. They don't want to have to go on Instagram and start a podcast and make a, you know, whatever, and this silly kind of stuff. Like, they just want to be a world champion because they want. That's what makes me wonder how the staying power is going to be, right? When you're dealing with guys that are, you know, legitimate athletes that want to be legitimate athletes, and they're getting passed up by guys that are entertainers.
His own aims have. Charles Oliveira shared insights from direct experience, having faced Gaethje in a truly memorable lightweight title fight not too long ago. He understood better than most just how explosive and dangerous Gaethje becomes during striking exchanges. Having actually fought him before, eventually securing a submission victory, he had this to say about Pimblett's chances. Pimblett's striking is solid, he's capable of getting fights to the ground, and he's constantly moving. I think Pimblett will avoid standing and trading with his opponent. His best path forward is to grapple and control the wrestling. If he decides to trade strikes, he's risking getting knocked out cold, but if he commits to taking him down, he just might capture the title. Still, I honestly favor Gaethje to come out on top. Matt Brown entered the discussion, voicing broader concerns about what this particular fight represents in the UFC's current landscape. To Brown, Pimblett's rapid elevation to an interim title shot seemed less about defeating elite competition and more a promotional decision based on popularity and fan appeal. He pointed to Arman Tsarukyan as a fighter who had earned his stripes the right way, defeating quality opponents and proving himself against the division's best. Tsarukyan sits on the outside looking in, while a fighter with fewer impressive victories gets the title opportunity. Brown's comments carried undertones of frustration about the sport's direction, suggesting that social media presence and hype-building skills now carry as much weight as legitimate athletic achievement.
I'm not looking to grapple, but I have no issue, with the grappling department, and my ability to keep people from taking me down is second to none. So he's going to have to, punches and kicks, and then, if that happens, then he'll have a better chance. But this is such a crazy game, you just never know. Maybe I'll stop him.
Gaethje has expressed his position with absolute certainty, understanding the opportunity and the narrative surrounding it. He recognizes that many fans and observers would prefer to see Pimblett face Topuria for the undisputed championship, viewing that as a more compelling storyline given both fighters' rising profiles and contrasting personalities. This potential matchup has been compared to the highly anticipated but never realized bout between Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov, a fight that captured imaginations but never came to fruition. Gaethje seems almost energized by the prospect of derailing those plans and playing the role of spoiler to the fan-favorite narrative. He's made it clear that he intends to win and derail the Pimblett hype train, putting on a performance on January 18th that forces everyone to recalibrate their expectations and acknowledge him as the rightful next contender.
In the cage with him and fight him, but feel bad saying it because I've tired him.
Is that where you think he is in his career? You think he is?
I think he's on the precipice of retiring. He said himself he was going to retire if he didn't get a title shot, so he's not going to get another title.
Meanwhile, Pimblett enters the fight with the confidence of someone who always believed he'd reach this level. He stated that competing for a title feels inevitable, regardless of the path taken, making the opportunity to face a respected veteran like Justin Gaethje for interim gold seem like proper recognition of his journey. Looking ahead, Pimblett envisions not just defeating Gaethje, but then beating Topuria for the undisputed belt, defending that championship multiple times, and eventually moving up to welterweight to capture gold in a second division. These are bold predictions that demonstrate tremendous self-confidence, though critics might view them as premature considering his current resume.
Is that what you want?
Yeah, of course. Always want one.
You never had a war you want started by doing it with Justin Gaethje?
Yeah.
Where's your head at, man?
It's firmly screwed on my shoulders, lad, but people are laughing at me when I'm saying I'm going to stand with him, but I am. People think that I'm just going to shoot in the first 10 seconds. I'm not. I'm going to stand with him, and I'm going to put it on him, and people are going to be like, wow, we weren't lying. He's more of a boxer with leg kicks, and I'm an MMA striker. I don't do just boxing or Thai boxing or kickboxing or taekwondo or karate. I'm an MMA striker, and you'll see that.
Regarding the atmosphere leading up to the bout, Pimblett expects a respectful environment without the manufactured animosity often displayed in major UFC events. He's met Gaethje previously, finding him to be polite and pleasant during their interactions. He draws parallels to his fight against Michael Chandler, though he understands everything changes once the cage door closes. Pimblett has expressed genuine admiration for Gaethje, acknowledging his reputation as a fighter whose bouts consistently deliver thrilling entertainment. I've never backed down in all my years of competition, so I'm ready for whatever comes next. Commentary from fighters and analysts revealed just how complex and unpredictable this matchup really is. Some view Gaethje's experience and proven ability to thrive in chaotic situations as decisive advantages. Others recognize Pimblett's current momentum and talent for finding unexpected paths to victory as reasons for caution when counting him out. What remains certain is that on January 18th in Las Vegas, two competitors with everything to gain and much to lose will step into the Octagon to determine who advances as interim champion and who watches their title dreams, at least temporarily, come to an end.